Hello, my name is Emery Orea, and I will be presenting the case of Dr. Pasadera Nimani. So, Dr. Nimani was a faculty member at the Keck School of Medicine of University of Southern California, and he was also a researcher at the Children's Hospital of Los Angeles. His specialty was in infectious diseases, and so his focus was to really understand diseases such as necrotizing enterocolitis. So necrotizing enterocolitis is a disease that mainly affects the intestine. And as we can see in the figure, those individuals that have NEC have a swollen bowel. And so what happens is that bacteria infects the wall of the intestine, leading to perforation of the intestine and spillage of stool into the patient's abdomen. And so that can lead to infection and sometimes even death. Some of the risk factors are premature infants occurring in 2,000 to 4,000 births, and also in the presence of formula feeding. And so, although there are many different treatments or successful treatments for NEC, such as antibiotics and fluid resuscitation, individuals with NEC do have a higher chance of developing other complications such as short gut syndrome and stricture formation. So this leads us to Dr. Nimani's research. So his research team wanted to explore different preventive treatment for NEC, but first they wanted to determine that E-Sakazaki induces the production of nitric oxide, which is responsible for the apoptosis of rat epithelial cells. So one way they figured this out was by growing E-Sakazaki and then placing it in a culture plate that contained the IEC6 cells. And then upon examination, they found out that those that were infected with IEC6 cells had a higher NO concentration compared to those that were not. So knowing this, they wanted to see if Lactobacillus bulgaricus can lower the INOS activity in those that were infected, in cells that were infected with E-Sakazaki. So using RT-PCR, they found out that IEC6 cells that were infected with E-Sakazaki and were pre-treated with L. bulgaricus had a lower INOS activity. So their results seem really promising. However, they found out that the data were falsified and fabricated by Dr. Nimani. So based on allegations against Dr. Nimani, CHLA decided that they wanted to do an investigation. And what they found was that Dr. Nimani did provide false information by using images that were not even from their own experiment, from their experiment. And so CHLA decided that they want to report this to the ORI, and the ORI did confirm that Dr. Nimani falsified information on one published paper as well as on 4 NIH grant applications. So this led to the halt of the research that was occurring at CHLA, and Dr. Nimani was placed on research supervision beginning on July 7, 2020. So what that means is that before he can apply for support from the PHS or before he can be a part of a research team, then he must provide a plan for supervision, and that must be approved by the ORI. Furthermore, if he does not have any supervisory plan, then he must provide to the ORI that he has not been a part of any research team. And moreover, he is excluded from serving in any advisory capacity, meaning he can't be a peer reviewer or a consultant. So what does that mean to Dr. Nimani, and what does that mean in science? Well, first of all, it did lead to his resignation, and he no longer works at the Keck School of Medicine as well as CHLA. And his decision of using those grants prohibited other researchers from advancing their research as well. Furthermore, he deceived other researchers by providing fake data, and those researchers rely on this work of other scientists, and they trust that those data are correct. And so him deceiving them definitely leads other scientists from trusting the work of other scientists. And lastly, he betrayed the public. Instead of giving real data, he deceived others and giving them false hope to those who are impacted by NEC. So we can see that Dr. Naman's decision of just doing all these things led to very many things. It impacted him, and it impacted other people, and it impacted us as a whole. So that concludes my presentation, and here are my references. Thank you.